Hello, I'm Colin Sullivan.
And I'm Pepper Raper.
And this is Almost Live, a weekly show designed to give you the who's who and what's what of Telluride and Mountain Village. On today's show, we're joined by Catherine Warren for her Warren Commission for News on the Music and Entertainment Scene, and then we're going to sit down with filmmaker Louis Schwartzberg to talk a little film, and then local Kirk Drogsvold to talk alpine flamenco and the maker scene here in the mountains.
We'll take a look at a segment from Tri-County Health Network explaining the sometimes confusing world of healthcare coverage. And Patrick Legans, the wine geek food freak, is going to show us how to make a delicious sausage dish.
We're going to go way back in time with our retro ride for a look at an old Telluride Film Festival interview between Roger Ebert and actor Peter O'Toole. And then the Telluride Mountain Club is going to take us up the Judd Wiebe Trail.
We will get a reminder from Lionel Starr and friends to be bear aware as summer winds down. And Barbara Glansing, our favorite local yogini, will show us how to practice reclining hero pose. For now, let's join Colin and Catherine for this week's Warren Commission.
And here we are back with the illustrious, the indispensable Catherine Warren.
Thanks for making me blush, Colin.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Maybe every week. That's my goal.
Yeah. So we've got a really busy week.
Yeah. What is going on?
So not any major festivals. We get a little bit of a breather as the town sort of turns over for Telluride Film Festival,
which takes like about 3 weeks.
Yeah. And I'm not going to have much music to report on next week. But
okay.
We'll get there next week. This week we have fabulous artists, both local and from out of town. Let's just start in order. On Friday night, we've got the McCarthy Jazz Trio playing the Music on the Green series outside of Hotel Madeline. That's from 5 to 7, and it is free. At 6 o'clock, we've got the Glider Bob Saunders Theater dedication ceremony. That's at the Black Box Theater at the Palm Theater.
Yeah.
Yep, honoring our former city council or town council member who passed away 2 years ago.
Right.
And we now have the Black Box Theater is named after him because he was such a passionate supporter of the arts and participant as well. At 7:30 at the Show Bar in the Sheridan Opera House, we have Nicole Wagner, a fabulous Americana singer-songwriter. It's a $10 cover. And then later on Friday night, at 10 p.m., we have Strange Americans, a fabulous rock band.
Yes, the Strange
$10
Americans are
cover
great
for that show. And it's at 10, if I didn't already mention that. Saturday night, we have folk legend Judy Collins playing at the Sheridan Opera House. We were so excited to have her back in Telluride. That's an 8 o'clock show, and last I checked, there were just a handful of tickets left. So check out SheridanOperaHouse.com to see if there are still tickets. On Sunday, this is not music, but it's a fabulous event. It's an evening with Ken Burns, a fundraiser for the Telluride Historical Museum.
Yes.
Yes, our buddy Ken Burns. He was on the show last year. And they will be screening episode 6 of his Vietnam War series, and then it's followed with a Q&A with Mr. Burns himself. So that is at the Palm Theater at 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Ken is a pretty amazing guy
because
he's definitely like a longtime local here, but he's also really willing to talk about his films all the time.
He loves it. And then next Monday, we've got Kirk Drogsvold playing Alpine Flamenco at the Village Table from 6 to 9. And then he plays again at Black Iron Bowl not Black Iron Bowl, the Black Iron Restaurant.
Yeah. That would be weird if he hiked all the way up there. Yeah.
At 5:30 on Tuesday, and he'll be on the show later.
Yeah, later.
He can talk more about his awesome music. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, we've got the Telluride Gold Kings playing at the Phoenix Bean at 6:30. And every Thursday for, I think, the next several weeks, there's bingo at the Phoenix Bean hosted by Telluride Theater.
Yes, that's right.
So you can buy your bingo cards at 6:30, and then the bingo starts at 7. Are there prizes or?
Yeah, there's prizes. You could show up. There's money. Those kind of things. Just come and check it out.
Yeah.
You can come at any point. Any age can play.
Great. That's about it.
Well, thanks
for
a
this
lot.
week.
Oh my gosh,
Just
yeah.
that.
I know. It's funny because even though we had all those events going on, it was still shorter than a lot of them.
Yeah. It's our mellower week.
That's right, our mellower week in town. Don't call us in the fall. We'll not be here.
No.
Catherine, thank you so much for being here,
Thanks
madam.
for having me.
Let's head over to our own wine geek, food freak, Patrick Legans, for some sausages in red wine and cream sauce, and then we're going to see a little piece from Tri-County Health Network.
Hi, I'm Patrick Legans, the wine geek, food freak. Today, I found some beautiful hand-stuffed Italian sausages from my local Clark's Market. I'm going to do it with some mushrooms, onions, a nice red wine cream sage sauce. I've got my onions, yellow onions, and mushrooms to the point where I want them. I've done a little bit in, put a little olive oil in there. You can always extend the life of butter if you add a little olive oil. I'm going to take some beautiful hand-stuffed Italian sausages from my local market, Clark's Market, and I want to stick them right in here and just brown those guys up a little bit. I also like to add at this point in time a little salt. A lot of times I add the salt at the end, but today, right now with mushrooms and onions, because you're cooking them slow, you want to extract all that liquid out of them. All right, so now I've just seared the outside of the sausage just a little bit here, getting the right color that I want. We do it on both sides. You also notice that the onions and the mushrooms are also getting that same look to them. I'm gonna take last night's Barbera, any red wine will do. I'm gonna put it in here, and I'm gonna reduce for a little while. Okay, so now the red wine has reduced enough. You can see it's thickening up. It's really come into the sausage a lot, changed the whole color of the sausage. Now I'm gonna add a little heavy whipping cream. Mix that in. So now the cream sauce is starting to come together. Not quite there, we're gonna finish it off in a second. But I just wanna take all this stuff off the side, very important. That's where the sodium is, that's where the flavor is at. Okay, put that right there. Meanwhile, real quick, I'm gonna chop up some of my sage from my garden just to put right into that sauce. Just give it some of that sage flavor. We're gonna reserve a little bit for decorations at the end. So cream sauce, the worst thing that can happen is they break. So that's when you've cooked it too long. So one of the things we're watching for here is you'll see all these bubbles. When there starts to be bigger bubbles, and you can see it right here, a small discoloration right here in that little spot right there, it's darker purple, that's gonna start to happen all over. That's where we're gonna nail that cream sauce perfect. Just past this is to break the sauce, and the dish is over. You'll have oil and cream separated on the plate. We wanna have one congealed sauce together. I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna reserve them on this plate real quick while I finish off some pasta. I'm gonna take my pasta, I'm gonna place in the sauce, give it a toss. I'm gonna chop up the rest of my sage for decoration purposes. All right, now we're just there. I'm gonna show you right here in the camera. Check it out. You can see the discoloration happening all over the place, but it's not yet breaking. That's perfect. All right, so now I'm gonna take the pasta, I'll put it on the plate. Now I'm making this one for a big group of people. I'm gonna put all the pasta down here, reserving some of that sauce for the top. Place these beautiful sausages right on top, and then pour that sauce right on. All right, take my decorative sage, bring on all of that, and sausage in a red wine sage cream sauce. Until next time, remember all you need is good ingredients, some care, and a minute of your time, and you can eat like me, Patrick Legans, the wine geek, food freak.
Hey Telluride community, my name is Alexis Klein and I'm your local health coverage guide with Tri-County Health Network.
And I'm Eric Lang. I too was a health coverage guide with Tri-County Health Network.
So we're currently outside of open enrollment, or the period of time when you can enroll into a health insurance plan. And assuming you have been enrolled into a plan and you've paid your monthly premium, we just want to walk you through what happens if you have to use your plan. Once you sign up for health insurance and pay your monthly premium, or the amount you need to pay each month in order to have the insurance, you will receive a card like this, and you can take it to the doctor's office with you. There are a few important things to know about your plan in case you have to use it.
When signing up for a plan, it is important to choose not only based on the monthly cost of having the plan, but also on the cost of using your health insurance, just in case. So here are a few terms to know and how they help determine what your health insurance can help cover. Premium, the monthly amount paid for the health insurance.
Copayment, or copay for short. This is the amount you pay at the time of a visit to receive services. This amount will range depending on what plan you have or also the care you are seeking. So, for example, you may have a copay for $25 to go to the primary care doctor, or you're going to have a $10 copay for generic medication.
A deductible, the amount you pay in a calendar year for your health services before your health insurance kicks in. So for example, if your plan has a $2,000 annual deductible, you will be expected to pay the first $2,000 towards your health care services. After you reach $2,000, you will then pay co-insurance up until your out-of-pocket maximum.
So speaking of co-insurance is a percent you must pay after you have paid your deductible. So this payment is for covered services only. So for example, your plan might cover 80% of your medical bill after you've hit that deductible. Well, that means that you are responsible for the other 20%. So you pay 20% of the services until you reach your maximum out-of-pocket.
And an out-of-pocket maximum. This is the most you have to pay for covered services in a plan year. After you spend this amount on deductibles, co-payments, and co-insurance, your health plan pays 100% of the costs of covered benefits.
Typically, these apply to all medical services you receive, from having the flu and seeing the doctor, from getting an x-ray on a broken arm, and thanks to the Affordable Care Act, preventive services are free, like shots and standard screenings. We highly recommend you ask your primary care provider what preventive services you should receive. For a full list, check out this link. So this is what is called an explanation of benefits, or an EOB for short. So this is a statement from your health insurance company to covered individuals explaining what medical treatments and or services have been paid for on their behalf. So this EOB is explaining the services Eric received and how much his insurance plan paid for them and what is left over.
So didn't I pay this each month?
You did pay each month, but you paid in the form of a premium payment. So that is the payment you pay to just have health insurance. You may still owe your doctor for services that your insurance company didn't fully cover. And this all depends on the type of plan you have and what services you receive.
So when I went to the doctor, my bill was $500 in total. I had to pay my deductible, which was $250. Then my 20% co-insurance kicked in, which was $50 more at that point. And the insurance covered 80%, which was $200. And then in total, my doctor's visit cost me $300, but the insurance then paid $200, so I saved $200.
You got it. By enrolling in a plan and paying the monthly premium, your medical expenses were mostly covered. But remember, an EOB is not a bill. It is kind of like an itemized receipt. It is recommended that you wait until your medical provider sends you a bill in the mail with the amount on it. Sometimes they may even reduce the amount depending on the service, so it never hurts to wait. You don't owe your insurance company anything outside of a monthly premium, but you may owe your doctor for services that your insurance company did not fully cover.
Let me get this straight. So this final amount is most likely what I owe, since this is my co-insurance amount. But I should wait until I receive a bill from the doctor's office directly in a few weeks and pay them for that.
Correct. We hope that this was informative and will help you better utilize your health insurance.
If you have any more questions, Tri-County Health Network is available to answer them. give us a call at 970-708-7096.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome back. I am here with Louis Schwartzberg. Thanks for joining us in the studio today. Louis, first of all, tell me how your connection to Telluride and what you're doing here, how long you've been around.
Well, first time I came to Telluride, 1986, I was shooting some gorgeous landscapes for a Coors commercial. I did a sunrise on Wilson Peak, and they ended up using that as the background for their logo for several years, and it also became the image on the Coors Light can.
Yeah.
And then subsequently, I fell in love with Telluride because of its extraordinary beauty and the culture of this town.
Yeah.
And I've been coming back to mountain film at least 5 or 6 times. America's Heart and Soul was a feature film. There was a finalist here, as was Wings of Life,
Great.
which was a film about pollinators.
Well, tell me a little bit about your work.
Well, I love to make the invisible visible in my nature cinematography and filmmaking. So I've done films about, pollinators, about flowers, 3D IMAX film called Mysteries of the Unseen Worlds, where I film things that are either too fast, too vast, too slow for the human eye to see.
And how do you go about capturing these?
Well, I sometimes have to invent the technology.
Nice.
I was one of the first people to use digital cameras that were used by the military for doing slow motion on bombs exploding.
Oh, wow.
To shoot hummingbirds. So we shoot at 1,000 frames per second, so you can actually notice that a hummingbird can actually float in midair.
Oh, wow.
So my joy in life is opening up people's minds and changing their worldview by realizing that our POV, point of view, is limited. The human point of view has a certain frame rate or metabolic rate. If you can look at life from the point of view of a flower, which is moving, or a hummingbird, which is too fast for you to see, then I think it expands your horizons.
Certainly. How do you choose your locations for your different projects?
Well, I guess primarily what inspires me is the key ingredient. And it depends on the story that I'm telling. Like with pollinators, for example, we went to Panama, and because they had extraordinary hummingbirds. The bats were in Mexico, and so the story kind of drives the location.
Is it a challenge getting your equipment to some of these places?
Definitely. When we shot the monarch butterflies in Mexico, that was at 14,000 feet elevation.
Oh, wow.
This is where the monarchs winter, between November to February. And it's an amazing story. Millions of butterflies gather, and then they take off, let's say in February, March, and they reproduce along the way. The great-grandchildren of these monarchs fly all the way from Canada back to these same 2 acres in the highlands of Mexico. And when you think about A, how do they navigate? B, how does the DNA incorporate that information?
Such a long distance for such a little organism.
It's the longest migration of any butterfly on Earth. Sadly, they're on the verge of being declared on the endangered species list because of Monsanto's use of neonicotinoid pesticides, which they feed upon on milkweed as they go through the Midwest.
Oh, goodness.
So the United States is responsible for the decimation of the monarch butterflies. It's not the United States, the people of the United States, it's the government that allows Monsanto. Neonicotinoids have been banned in Europe.
Oh, interesting.
They should be banned in America.
Wow. Well, what is your most recent project?
Well, my most recent project, which has been going on for 13 years, I've been doing a film on mushrooms. Well, not on mushrooms, about mushrooms.
Okay.
Because I was on mushrooms, I'd probably be done. But I'm here at the Mushroom Film Festival, and they are part of my movie. And I showed a couple of sequences from the film to the tribe so they could enjoy the experience. And mushrooms are an extraordinary story.
Yeah.
They can heal you, they can feed you, clean up an oil spill, make soil.
There's some that can break down plastic too, right?
Right, break down plastic, and maybe the greatest natural solution for climate change.
Oh, wow.
Because in combination with plants and trees, plants and trees take in carbon dioxide, they release oxygen into the atmosphere at the leaf, which we get to breathe. But then the carbon they found out is they traced it with carbon isotopes all the way down the trunk of a tree into the roots, and then they are exchanged for nutrients with the mycelium in this incredible underground network. It's like an internet under the ground. It's a shared economy where ecosystems can learn how to flourish.
Wow.
In addition to all that, too, they also can shift your consciousness. And the recent trials at Johns Hopkins with psilocybin, with cancer patients, people with PTSD, it eliminates suffering, because when you have an immersive, transformational, transcendental experience, you lose your fear of dying. And you really can feel the fact that it's all connected.
And it seems there's been more research on that recently.
A lot. It was 2 days ago on CBS Morning, there was a 2-minute sequence. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Mainstream television did a story about microdosing.
Incredible. So going back to locations, where have you been where did you film this movie? I mean, over 13 years, lots of different places.
Yeah, a lot of places. British Columbia, we followed Paul Stamets and his journey. He's one of the key mycologists in our film. My gosh, it's been everywhere. A lot of it is in my studio. We do a lot of time lapse of mushrooms growing.
That's what I was going to ask you. Since you're saying you slow things down or speed them up, is this one you're speeding up?
Yeah. So we do a lot of studio work. But yeah, I mean, everywhere from New York to Telluride to LA to British Columbia, Washington State.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, when can we expect to see your new film out?
Not sure yet. I suggest people go to movingart.com
All right.
or fantasticfungi.com.
Okay.
And we'll keep the audience updated on the latest news we have on the release.
Well, super. So before we go, I wanted to ask you about a film you shot with one of our local characters here, Rowdy. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Rowdy is a symbol of the last American cowboy. I did a film called America's Heart and Soul. It's a film about remarkable but ordinary people. And so we shot like a jazz musician in New Orleans, bike messenger in New York, a rug weaver in Appalachia, which was one of the key films that Mountain Film would take on tour. But Rowdy was part of, I think, the story or the character of my movie. Rowdy represents, I think, the American character and freedom. I love telling stories about people who've overcome adversity, but still have a lot of joy and hope in their life. So, Rowdy symbolizes a character who, gave up drinking in order to have more freedom. And the shots of him riding his horseback, through the aspen trees, as well as riding into the Sheraton bar, and his love of horses, and the fact that he can talk.
Oh, yeah.
As we all know. And so he is like one of my dearest friends.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Louis. We really
Sure.
appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll take a retro ride back to some years ago for a Telluride Film Festival award ceremony honoring Peter O'Toole.
Thank you. Telluride. I'll start again. This tribute to me at Telluride is proving to be as enchanting as the invitation to come here was completely unexpected. Now, what I'm going to say next is a version of a hairy old platitude, but when 50 years ago, this year, I took my first uncertain steps on the stage as an actor with professional actors. Had anyone suggested to me that half a century later I would be up a Rocky in a grand old Opry, being festooned with medals, wandering and relaxing with old and new friends and colleagues, watching the better part of 5 decades of my life tumble on the screen in Bill Pence's startlingly good compilation in the company of the new generation O'Toole, my son, Lorcan. I might have said that that would be unlikely. It has proved to be not only likely, but to be the case. And I'm scratching the microphone. I'm deeply grateful and highly honored. Thank you very much indeed. Now, I'm not going away. I'm about to be interrogated.
Roger Ebert.
I love my language. We're going to sit and be confounded.
Oh, look at this. We have a table. I hope it has some water on it. And an ashtray, a big one.
Fire away and don't spare me.
As I was studying your memories of some of your earlier years and then looking at these wonderful clips from a magnificent career, I think I must tell you that you made the right decision in not remaining as a film critic. Is it true that when you were 16 you did film notices?
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
And then went into the Navy and then joined that amazing group of actors. Michael Caine, Albert Finney, yourself. You were all that generation that came along and simply transformed the British cinema.
Accurately, in 1953, at the RADA in London, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, there was Albert Finney, Alan Bates, me. I always miss people out, so they get very upset. Doesn't matter. Frank Finlay, on and on and on and on. We were a remarkable little group, and we all moved into the theatre, as well as the cinema. And all of us are still alive, which is even more amazing.
Was there a sense of competition in those days, or was it more as if you were mates, setting out on the adventure
No
together?
actor worth his salt doesn't know what competition means. Yeah. In the older days, in the early 19th century, the 1800s, theatre was on a par with the present day boxing. It had as much excitement, as much fancy. Edwin Booth and Edmund Kean together at Drury Lane in 18, whatever it was, 16, 18, 17, competing, playing Othello and Iago. Yeah, there's always been a very healthy sense of competition between us. And this is what makes it interesting.
Welcome back. That was our retro ride. We have tons of archival footage here. Everything from community events, performances, activities, anything that happens really here in this tiny town of Telluride.
Telluride TV is a public access channel that depends on public support. We'd like to give a thank you to some of our most generous supporters, the towns of Telluride and Mountain Village, the Telluride Ski and Golf Company, and the Telluride Foundation.
Now let's head over to Heidi with the Telluride Mountain Club for a hike up the Judd Wiebe Trail.
Hi, I'm Heidi, and this is Annie Oakley, and today on Telluride Trails, we're gonna hike the Judd Wiebe. It's just over 3 miles round trip. It's a loop from town. We're here at the top of Aspen Street, but you can also do it from Oak Street or Tomboy Road, so you can go clockwise or counterclockwise. Today we'll be going clockwise, and it's a moderate to semi-difficult hike, and it's one of the classic Telluride hikes. We're gonna keep hiking uphill to the top, and we'll check in with you when we get there. We just arrived at one of the great vistas here on the Judd Wiebe Trail, and the views are incredible. To the east, we can see Little Cone and Lone Cone Peak, as well as the start of the Wilson Massif. Behind me, we have incredible views of the front side of Telluride Ski Resort. To our east, we have views of Ballard Peak, La Junta, and Wasatch Peak. And you can actually see as far as Ajax Peak and No Name Peak at the far east end of the Box Canyon. We just arrived at the top of the Judd Wiebe, and this is another incredible spot for views. Behind me you can see Bridal Veil Falls and Ingram Falls. You can also see the views up Bear Creek, including San Joaquin Couloir, which is the locals' favorite. We just got to Cornet Creek. We crossed over the bridge, and this creek crossing is high above Cornet Falls. And wanted to tell you a little bit about Judd Wiebe. He was a U.S. Forest Service Ranger, and he had the vision for this trail. He actually started construction on it. Unfortunately, he passed away, but the Forest Service was able to finish construction in 1986. We just climbed up from Cornet Creek, and we're here at the intersection of Liberty Bell Trail and the Judd Wiebe. And from here we just have a quick jaunt up, and then we make our final descent back into town, which will lead us to Tomboy Road and then Oak Street. I'm Heidi from the Telluride Mountain Club, signing off from this edition of Telluride Trails. If you want to learn more about the trails in our region or donate to the club, you can go to TellurideMountainClub.org. And a big thank you to Telluride TV for taking this hike with us.
So I think the bears are hungry. They were asking where food could be found, if there were unlocked trash bins in town, so they could eat it and throw it around, cause they can't seem to fill up on berries. The bears are back in town. The bears are back. Bears are back. I say the bears are back in town. The bears are back. The bears are back. The bears are back in town. The bears are back.
So here we are now with Kirk Drogsvold. I would say local artist. I would say man about town, Renaissance man. What do you think?
That's right.
Is that good?
That's what I'm trying to work on that, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a nice shirt on today, way nicer than mine.
My jazz shirt.
Your jazz shirt.
Like several other shirts. Yeah.
So we're going to just talk about a little bit of everything, but what we like to begin with is what brought you to Telluride?
Yeah. So it was the last day of class at CU in Boulder, and an advisor walks in the room and says, "Is anybody interested in an internship in Telluride?" And I raised my hand, of course. I was the only one, and got in touch with Thea Chase, who was the managing director of the Telluride Venture Accelerator. And so I moved up here on a whim, and I was going to be here for about a month. I was staying at the Peaks, so the room was covered, but there was no pay. So I needed a bit of beer money, and so I was like, oh, maybe I could play some guitar around town. And
You're a busker.
Yeah.
You're one of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those guys. And I ran into Emma Girona at the Art and Architecture Festival, and she said that they have a Spanish-style restaurant in the village, and that maybe I could play some music. And one thing led to another, and I was making enough money to pay rent. And then Johnny, the owner of the Village Table, offered to buy a ski pass as well. And so, I mean, after that...
Not the worst place in the world to do what you do.
Yeah.
So you don't do... We don't like to call it flamenco guitar.
No.
At the Village Table. You call it alpine flamenco.
Yeah, very different. Very different.
What is that like? Is that like fish but with flamenco guitar, or what is it?
No,
string cheese.
Yeah, nothing like fish.
Okay.
But I would say it's a more mellow flamenco. So maybe if Pink Floyd and maybe Paco de Lucia got together and jammed, that would be maybe something like it.
So you've been here for how long now?
4 years.
4 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, so just back the train up for a second. So we're talking about you come for the Venture Accelerator thing, and now you're playing the flamenco guitar. Is this is primarily what you're doing here?
Yeah, primarily, and then on the side, I'm also trying to start a lighting design business.
Okay.
So building cool fixtures using modern tech, so 3D modeling and.
Well, talk to me about this. What is this all about? I'm in theater, and I understand lighting design from that perspective of like the actors need to be lit, or this scene changes, so we need to figure this out. But when you say lighting design, what do you mean exactly? Or 3D?
Yeah,
things?
I guess it comes down to the maker movement. So with these new tools, we're able to build stuff all over the place and think about different ways of delivering products to people, and just sending them via email. And so right now we have 3D printers, we have CNC machines, we have laser cutters and stuff, and we're just starting to be able to share products via email. And so I think it's an interesting exploration to get into what can you make. And I've been making some designs that just turned out to be lighting designs, but they could morph into something else.
Okay, so when you say lighting designs, what exactly does that mean? Within the context of like 3D printers and things like that? Yeah, so
I've come up with these designs that can cut a sheet material, just about any sort of sheet material that you can cut into these beautiful sculptural forms. So we've done some out of plywood, out of acrylic, out of a material called paper stone, which is almost 100% recycled paper. So getting into thinking about closed loop business models.
Okay.
And
paper stone.
Paper stone, yeah.
Okay.
Really cool product out of, I think it's Seattle. Cool. And just trying to get that up and running as well.
And what is the, like, when you're doing the lighting designs, are you talking about like the sort of things that go on the front of lighting, that lighting instruments that are casting different sort of shadows and different sort of like shapes and those kind of things, or what are we?
So they're the fixtures.
Oh, okay, okay. Right.
So yeah, they do make some nice light shapes. But,
okay.
Yeah, they're more about the form and how they're made.
How do you get into all this? I mean, is this what you did at Boulder?
Yeah, it is. I studied environmental design at Boulder. So there was a certain group of people who loved getting in with the laser cutter and the CNC machines and thinking about what you could make.
Okay.
And yeah, that grabbed me. So. And
where would that, like, for you, when you're looking at this kind of stuff and you're walking around a place like Telluride, which is an incredible, I mean, there's a lot of wealth here and there's a lot of people here. I mean, for the size population and everything, but there's also a lot of open space and things like that. So when you look at Telluride, what are you inspired by in terms of environmental design and things like that?
The aspen trees.
Oh, okay.
Love the aspen trees.
Okay.
I think, actually, the inspiration for the ones I've been building has been the sun through the aspen trees, just the way it kind of
Yes.
shimmers, and there's something just very fundamental, I would say, that it evokes just the aesthetics of the trees and the way it shimmers.
I agree. We at the house down valley that my wife and I are at. We want to put in like an aspen grove, and it's actually just for that.
Really?
For this whole idea. There's something you're saying, like evoking something, like it's like something of a place. Also, the aspens make a sound.
They
which is
do.
unlike it's like people like shuffling things, like.
Yeah, it's really pleasant, and
Yeah.
it's distributed in 3 dimensions, so you can kind of hear it all around you.
Is there anything else that you're into? Because you are. I mean, sort of in some ways, Kirk. I think like the perfect Telluridian. You came here. It's always you come here for something else, and you're here, and then you invent something to make your living, and then within that you see some sort of a hole, and you fill that hole with something that you're really interested in that nobody else is really doing, which is part of this environmental design and things like that you're doing here. Is there other stuff?
Well, I think it's every time we've had new technology come about in the world, people come up with new forms for creating art and sharing meaning, and so I do take an interest in a lot of the new technology that's coming out, including virtual reality and augmented reality, and I'm hoping to interweave these projects. So this off season, I'm going to be going to Boulder to work with. It's called the Blow Things Up Lab.
The Blow Things Up Lab.
Yeah.
This sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's a cool place. It's through the Atlas program at CU Boulder, and going to be working on connecting the light fixtures to the internet. And maybe take a data stream. A good one for Telluride would be maybe weather data. So these things are going to shake when a storm's coming. So.
God, that's amazing. It's so far outside of the box to me in some ways in terms of what you're talking about, because you're talking about the application of a thing, but then not necessarily what we would think it was normally applied for. When you say lighting, it's like, I'm like, oh, a pathway, or, theatrical lighting or something like that. And you're like, oh, these things are going to like react to the weather.
Yeah.
Because the weather's a big deal here.
It is. Yeah. And it gets people excited, and it gets me excited. So yeah, I think it's just a fun exploration. I don't know where it's going to go. But just,
cool.
Coming up with ideas and trying to make things. And
if we were to try to find you, to go all the way, to bring this full circle, if we were to try to find you, you would go and we would find you playing alpine flamenco at the village table on what nights? Tell us about that.
So,
because we want to make sure that you stay here.
Yeah, I love it here. It's a great place. Monday and Thursday evening, I'm at the village table from 6 to 9. And then Tuesdays, I'm at Black Iron from 5:30 to 8:30.
Great.
And Wednesdays at the Peaks from 5:30 to 8:30.
Great. So if we come up to Mountain Village at any point during the week, we can hear the alpine flamenco emanating from one of these different places.
That's the idea.
And if we see you, then we should talk about bigger, crazier, more out there things that probably have some amazing application in the future here.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Kirk Drogsvold.
Yeah. Thank you.
And how would we, just in case anybody's interested, how would we get in touch with you via email or anything like that?
Yeah, my
Instagram or anything.
Well, my website is johnkirkcreative.com.
johnkirkcreative.com. Okay,
that's right. And then my email, phone number's on there. Cool. So that's a great way.
See, I knew you knew something about the internets.
Trying to.
Thanks a lot, man, for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. All right, let's head over now to Barbara Yoga. She's going to give us a reclined hero pose. Barbara?
Hello and welcome to our mini yoga series in beautiful Telluride, Colorado. My name is Barbara Glansnick, and today we'll be looking at Supta Vajrasana. This mini-series is really designed to provide you with some easy stretches that you could do throughout the day, especially when you don't have a lot of time. As always, I really want you to focus on the breath, so we're going to inhale and exhale through the nose only, and I want you to be mindful about moving your body, so really honor where you are today. Okay, so let's get cracking. So come to your mat and come onto your knees. Take your knees about hip width apart. Heels are going to be slightly wider than your hips, and then if you can just sort of sit down between your heels. If this is not possible, you can also just work on that. You can first place a block or a bolster underneath your sitting bones and slowly, slowly, slowly work yourself all the way down. Once you sit comfortably, because that's really important, you don't want to already be super strained or at your edge. So once you sit comfortably, you're going to bring the bolster all the way to the back. And then slowly, slowly, slowly on an inhale, you're going to lift your heart, lengthen upwards. On the exhale, slowly bend the elbows and gently lie down. At the very, very end, you're going to bring your head down onto the bolster. Keep the chin tucked, gazing in the direction of the nose tip. If this feels somewhat comfortable, you can also reach your arms back to get a little extra extension. So stay here between 5 and 10 long breaths. Feel like you're moving your tailbone forward. You feel the inward rotation of the thighs and the grounding of the sit bones. With every inhalation, you feel the lengthening of the front side of your body. Maybe you can find a little bit of relaxation in the posture. After 5 to 10 breaths, on an inhale, press into your elbows and reach your heart up. Head comes first. And then from here, remove the bolster if you had one and move into child's pose. So come onto your knees, bring the big toes together, reach the knees wide, and walk your arms forward, forehead to mat. Again, we're going to stay here for 5 to 10 long breaths, releasing the back, creating space in the lower back. And as you're done, slowly inhale up, bring your knees together. Thank you so very much for practicing with me today. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.
Thanks, Barbara. We love those short yoga segments.
Well, Almost Live is almost over.
But if you missed part of the show, never fear. You can catch us morning, noon, and night on cable channel 12 or YouTube and Facebook.
And before we sign off today, we're going to head over to Kirk Drogsvold, who's going to do a piece of his signature Alpine flamenco guitar for us here in studio. Well, that's it. See you later.